Okay, Friday, 26th of January 2024. So, nearly being stranded in Cancun. So, this was February 2021. I'm quite confident 21. So, I was nearly stranded in Cancun because my phone, I had water damage with my phone. Went into the bathroom to have a shower, and there's this little area had these like plastic tubes you could put things in them, so you could put your phone on there and stand it up. But little did I know, as I put my phone in, the bottom was full of water. After a few seconds, the phone basically died. The bottom third of the phone, ultimately I found out soon after, was completely water damaged. The phone was not responsive at all. The touchscreen didn't work, things like that. It overheated really fast. It was dreadful. So that device being destroyed almost led me to being stranded in Cancun. Not stranded as in like I had no money and had no plane ticket or I missed the flight. No real disaster in that sense. But it meant incommunicado. Anything on my phone was basically inaccessible. Couldn't really use it. I couldn't use it at all. Disaster. So, what happened? Next day, I got a new phone, and then I spent the same day or the day after that sorting it out, all the apps, all the login details, everything. Now, it took about a day or so to sort these things out. And, I lost time, I wasted time, but I had to do it. Fair enough. It had to be done. Otherwise, just unpractical. Now, luckily, I had with me this little banking card. You put your credit cards and debit cards in and put a pin in to sign transactions to prove it's authentic. Luckily, I had that with me, because if I hadn't had that with me, it would have taken me an extra day to sort out online banking apps. Okay. So all this logistics, all this stuff here and there that needed sorting out, showed me two interesting things: decentralizing lifestyle, decentralize, and having no one single point of attack or failure. So no single point of attack or failure means that if something happens over here with this one device, then all aspects of life are not affected. A decentralized life. Centralized versus decentralized. So when people have things like their keys, their credit cards, and whatever else on their phone, if something happens to that phone, like it gets damaged by water in the bathroom, what can you do? How can you access your keys? How can you access your money? Interesting. It's an interesting balance between centralized and decentralized. Having one single point of attack and failure, having no point of attack and failure. Because luckily, I had my keys with me, and they're physical keys. They're totally unaffected by the phone being damaged. And same with the credit cards, totally unaffected. But had they been linked together, touch screen, near field communication, disaster. So, and then because of that, whenever I go somewhere, I always bring a second phone with me, which is basically a backup with the same apps. Okay. Almost a clone, really. So that's decentralizing it, having multiple versions of backup. If something happened to this one, I can use the other one. Get a replacement by all means later on, but in the meantime, this one. And then you can go one step further and say certain documents, like the boarding pass, I endeavour to have them printed off on paper. So that way, if something does happen to this, like I'm at the airport, something happens to the phone with the boarding pass on it at the last minute, in general, losing it, stolen, no battery, whatever, I have a physical boarding pass. So then I can literally get home. And if I have my wallet with me, money and credit cards, then I can still pay for things. Now, I can't communicate as easily, but I can still get home. Now, I'd be limping home, basically. Wouldn't be in one piece, but I still get home. And then when home, can sort these things out much easier, much quicker, more effectively. But that's that little lesson there, being almost stranded. You could say stranded is a bit hyperbolic, a bit of a hyperbole, but the principle, when you follow the logic, it could have led to that problems. Now, fortunately, it was a disaster for 1 day. Then a few days later, it was sorted and real issues. Move on in life. But it was a key lesson right there. Decentralizing life, so that way there's no one point of attack or failure. So a few months ago, I guess it was months ago now, I really can't remember. Early December, I think, or November, late November. I was with a friend and he was telling me he has his credit card on his phone. I asked him what happened. He's paying for things by using the phone. So I asked him, what happens if something happens to your phone? And he says, oh, I got a credit card in the car. Okay, so where's the car keys? Oh, they're physically here. Okay, that's good. So it's just noticing. I'm always thinking, if something happens, what can we do in case of emergency? Building contingencies, really. If this, then that. Simple logic. If this happens, then what? Oh, I need a backup plan. I'm thinking ahead. So if something happens to this phone, I have another phone ready to take its place. Aha. And I can use both of them for different things as well. So if I'm recording, I can use the other one for script, the notes or whatever else, for videos. Certain videos that I record. Perfect. So I want to avoid that happening again. If getting stranded somewhere or if abroad and something happens to the phone, there's an alternative. There's a contingency. There's a backup plan. And because there's no one single point of failure, if something happens over here, other aspects of life are not unaffected completely. The keys, I still have them. The wallet, I still have it. The passport's over here. The stuff's over there. Whatever else. Yeah, that's very important. And we don't, and you're just losing time. I lost about 2-3 days from that holiday. Now, I'm not losing sleep over it, but it's one of those little inefficiencies of life that I'd rather avoid. Just, you're there, you have a nice time. Would you rather be, doing something fun and exciting, traveling and exploring, or sorting the phone out, for a day or two? And it's obvious, isn't it? Have fun, This is boring, but think of it like a cost of, that is like a penalty, a cost for not being organised. Having to spend 2-3 days to get stuff organised and downloaded and reconfigured, so to speak. It's a cost of doing business in some way. It's a penalty. It's a penalty for not being organised. So then that also got me thinking. I realised afterwards, I guess weeks and months after, that I had travel insurance, and yet I didn't claim anything. Now, I could have forgotten, absent-minded, wasn't thinking. Maybe I was too worried. Maybe I wasn't calm enough. Oh, well, I was calm anyway, but I didn't think about it. I just paid out of pocket to get a new phone. Now, not a disaster in the long term, but again, it's one of those inefficiencies of life where maybe had I double checked, there could have been something in the travel insurance which talked about this. Because I know in England, in the UK, you can get gadget insurance. I think it's called like Bubble or something, bubble.com. Gadget Bubble, something like that. Where you can insure your gadgets, your hardware, phones and whatever else. So that highlighted for me the importance of insurance. Insurance as a policy for things going wrong. It's well, using a financial term, it's a put on things going bad. Or it's a stop loss, so to speak. If things go bad, it prevents things from getting worse. But it's a kind of protection. It highlighted the importance of insurance. Very important. So now, I have a year's worth of, I always get 1 year's worth of travel insurance and double check what's on there, what it covers, including hardware, including gadgets, as well as things like, missing flights and whatever else. It's an extra layer of security. And then, a little off topic, you can go one step further and only use credit cards. Another layer of security, another layer of insurance. It's a bit different because it's not insurance in the strictest terms, but it's an extra level of protection. Very important. So had I been a bit more aware, I guess the correct word will be, I could have seen how the insurance I had could have helped me. Very important. Yeah. So almost being stranded in Cancun, almost incommunicado. Almost. There was a chance. It came close. Came uncomfortably close. Yeah. I remember having to try and get the QR code for something important off the old phone. We had to leave it in the freezer for like an hour. And even then after that, it would work for like 5 minutes and then that's it. And I remember the last gasp the phone had and gave me, it was like, here's the QR code. I scanned it on the new phone. I got important data. And then that phone died. That's it. Like, damn, that was bad. Scary. Again, luckily, I had this like a little device, signing device for credit cards. So I was able to log into online banking. Had I not had that, that would have taken an extra 2-3 days to organise things. And again, in the grand scheme of things, not a problem. But it's like, would you rather have fun and enjoy your time, or be sorting out paperwork and downloading and passwords? I'd rather have fun. See what I mean? So, almost got stranded. Decentralised life. Don't have a single point of attack or failure. If something happens here, then everything else is unaffected. And hey, insurance. It's protection. Very important. So, otherwise, you will see me tomorrow.